Did you know that you can go from buying a piece of land to moving into your own home in just 4 stages? In this very special episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast, I'm going to take you through these 4 key stages of development. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell. Your likes and comments are really appreciated. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please do give us a 5-star rating and review. This really helps us getting discovered. Spotify listeners, please follow. Now, without wasting any further time, let's cue the music.
Tahir, welcome to this very special episode where we're going to be giving everyone an overview of the stages of developing your own property in Dubai.
Yes, Raj. We're going to give an overview to our listeners and viewers on how actually you can, you go from stage 1 to stage 4.
Okay, amazing. So for those of you watching on YouTube right now, the 4 stages are going to come up on the screen. And for those of you listening on an audio platform, let me read out the stages for you. Stage 1, identify and buy the land. Stage 2, design and plans approval. Stage 3, appointing a contractor. And stage 4, handover. So let's go through each of the stages at a high level. And for those of you who are interested in any one of these stages in detail, the following 4 episodes of this podcast, whether you check it out on YouTube or any of the audio platforms, will be going into a deep dive. So if any of these spark your curiosity, don't worry, there are dedicated episodes coming up on this season to deep dive into those. Starting with stage 1, identify and buy the land. Now, in the episode prior to this, we've gone into some depth already about where you can and cannot buy land. But when it comes to identifying and buying land, what should investors be thinking about and who is involved at the early stages?
So look, Raj, step 1, when it comes to identifying land, first and foremost, you need to identify the purpose of buying land. Right? Why are you buying it? Is it to build your own home? Is it to build, a rental asset? Or is it to buy and sell, right? I mean, build and sell. So these 3 things are there. Obviously, when it's the first thing, it's your own use. A lot of factors as in, where your, say probably where your kids go to school or where you want to be, which area you like, what kind of lifestyle, these things come into play. Obviously, the budget, how much you want to spend, this thing. When it comes to your buying to rent, as in developing it to rent it out, obviously you need to see which area is going to give you high rental yield. And if it's for sale, again, you need to see which area is high in demand in terms of transactions. So these are the things which you need to definitely look into before you identify the land. So first thing is the purpose.
When people talk to you about specifically the monetary return, what data do you refer them to when it comes to things like this land is worth emphasizing because the return is quite good? Like, is there certain government statistics that come out, or is it anecdotal from your previous clients?
I mean, look, when it comes to, seeing the value, right? When you buy land and when you build on it, the stage where you build on it can actually define how much value gets added on to that particular asset or that project. You need to understand one thing, that there are, say in a community, there are 10 plots which are the same size, but once those 10 buildings or villas or whatever type of real estate asset it is, once it's ready, the value of all those 10 is not the same, even though they might be the same size. The reason being is what is built and how it's built. So this is something which people really need to take care of, that what exactly do they make over there, how they make it, how good it is, and that defines the value, because that is where your real value comes in. As when you do this development process, you go through this thing. You bought something, you built on it, and the net value is much higher.
Okay, so let's look at the micro stages. Somebody sees a plot of land, they bring it to you, they say, I've seen this plot of land, or they say, bring me a plot of land, please, Tahir. You suggest it to them, and then I guess there'll be some registration that needs to be done with the government.
Yeah, look, obviously when you buy the land, the same way how you buy an apartment or a ready property or a villa, this thing, you need to pay 4% land department fees on the land cost when you're buying. So that is definitely which is payable, and you register the land in your name same way how you buy an apartment. The process of buying is same.
All right, brilliant. And we'll get into that on the dedicated
Yes.
episode. Stage 2, designs and plans approval. So I'm assuming now that somebody needs to be appointed to design your property. Who are the different people that you need to enlist at this stage?
So now what happens is, say, assuming you've already bought land, now you're going into stage 2. Stage 2, the first thing is obviously you need to get a design done, right? As per what you want to build on it.
Now, what's being designed? Are we talking about specifically an architect?
Yes, so you need a proper architect to design the place. Many times people use two different architects, one to design and one to get approvals. So this second stage is split into two parts. One is getting the design done, right? Someone who's going to design the house. So if it's a house, let's take an example to make it easier. If it's a house, you need someone to give you the design that, okay, understanding what you really want to build. You want to build 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, you want a basement, whatever, whatever your requirements are. As per that, they design the house. Then once those designs are ready, you can appoint a consultant who would go to the government authorities and get you the approvals. Now, usually, the thing is, you could even get one consultant doing both, or you could have two different consultants specializing in each.
So is the first one, I apologize for interrupting, but is the first one more based on, is considered like a needs architect based on your needs,
Exactly.
and the other one is more based on approvals?
Yes.
Does that mean that the second person doesn't necessarily have to be a registered architect, but could be someone like yourself, like a project manager who understands the admin side, or in both cases they need to be architects?
No, I mean, look, in the first case, obviously you need someone who's got experience, who's in designing and knowing. In the second case, when you go to a consultant who can get you approvals, has to be a consultant who's registered with the Dubai municipality and has all the licenses in place to actually go and get approvals. In the first case, if, say, for example, you are working with some sort of architect, designer back home, or maybe in some other country, you could also appoint someone from there to design, because that's just the design, right? The approval is the second stage. So a lot of people also do that, especially if they want to create something really fancy, really something wow, something super prime. They want to get someone really renowned or they've worked with before. They can definitely use someone who's not even based in Dubai to create the design, because eventually, every plot of land comes with its own development regulations, which can be given to any architect anywhere, and they can read that and follow those design guidelines. So that's also possible.
Okay, good. So you've got your architect that's gathered your needs, put a property together that's desirable to you or to a future tenant.
Yes.
You've then got the person who then takes that to the government. They've got their legal qualifications. We head over now to stage 3, which is appointing a contractor.
Yes.
A contractor could also be known as a builder.
Yeah, I mean, some people call it a builder. Some people, we in the region, we call them as contractors. So what happens is, once you've finished stage 2, you've done the design, you got the approvals in place, then obviously to commence work on site, you need a contractor who is a licensed contractor, again, with the Dubai municipality, because, contracting in the region works in such a way that, the people who are actually doing work, they have to follow certain norms, certain regulations, certain guidelines, and they need to have the licenses as per the Dubai municipality requirements. So depending on what you're building, there are certain contractors, because each contractor's license is also based on their strength. When I say their strength, that means certain contractors have been given a license only to build a G+1, that means a villa or any ground plus 1 structure. Certain contractors are qualified to build only up to 4 floors. And then there are certain contractors who are qualified for, G plus unlimited. That means they have the capacity and the resources to build a high rise as well. So the way the Dubai municipality and the government has done is that they've qualified these contractors based on what resources they have. So, depending on the number of laborers they have and all, they have these licenses. So you need to then figuring out, depending on what you are actually wanting to build, you appoint a contractor who is qualified enough to do the job.
Okay, brilliant. So we're going to obviously go into much more depth on the dedicated episode, but just for anybody who's trying to get a high level overview at the moment, what's competition like amongst contractors? If you have approved designs and you take that out to the market and you let contractors bid, Is there a lot of contractors in the city? Is there a lot of competition and price elasticity?
Look, there are a lot of contractors in the city. When it comes to appointing a contractor, what you need to be really certain about is you see what they've built before, especially the contractor. You need to see what has been delivered by the contractor. You need to see, how old are they in the region, and go ahead with a known contractor. My one advice is, what happens is there's a lot of competition, and sometimes this does happen that some contractors bid a much lower price just to get the job, right? And later on, you end up with sometimes in a situation where they're not able to complete it. So don't just go by the cheapest, but go with probably the best.
Is this where you really step in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, we help the client right from stage 1 to stage 4, Raj, with our expertise. And especially, I've been doing real estate for over 20 years now, previously in India, now in Dubai. What we do is we come in and get our expertise and experience of all these years and help the client achieve the best product possible. So when it comes to selecting the contractor, when it comes to selecting the designer, getting all the approvals, we stand by everywhere, because we know how each individual process works in detail. So, that's where we add value to the project.
Okay, brilliant. Stage 4 is handover.
Yeah.
So what's being handed over and to whom, and what are the things to look out for?
So look, one thing is, obviously, when it comes on handover, you need to have a proper inspection done. Don't just leave it up. What I do prefer is getting a third party to inspect and carry out a complete inspection.
This is a
of the
handover from the
property.
contractor to the owner.
Yes,
Okay.
So that what happens is, because obviously any contractor is going to say, I've done the job best, right?
Yeah.
But you need to make sure everything is done properly. There are also a lot of things which go in a house or a building which are covered by warranties. So you need to make sure that you know which warranty is covered by which manufacturer. That is, very essential, especially when if that asset is with you as a rental asset or your own home, because there are a lot of things. Like, for example, there could be the firefighting equipment, there are appliances, the air conditioning. So you need to make sure that you've taken a proper handover of the complete, suppliers, manufacturers, the warranties and all. Not only that, when you come on handover stage, one thing which you always need to retain is the complete set of drawings of what is built. We call them in our term as built drawings, which means what is constructed on site, the proper drawings of that, because in the future, maybe 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you want to do any modifications, these drawings are really helpful. So this is something which you should always make sure you have the complete set of drawings.
Okay, well, we're definitely going to run some scenarios on that on the dedicated episode. So that's the first 4 stages. Again, that's stage 1, identify and build. Again, that's stage 1, identify and buy the land. Stage 2, design and plans approval. Stage 3, appointing a contractor. And stage 4, handover. Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. Now, everybody knows where they need to get more information, because in the upcoming episodes, we're going to do deep dives on those. But in terms of if somebody is already curious about following next steps on this, how can they contact you?
They could reach out to me on any of my social media handles, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn at Tahir Majithia. They could drop me a DM, send me an email on tahir@trustedhomesdubai.com, and I'm always happy to assist.
Okay, dedicated episodes coming up for each one of these stages. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thanks so much, Tahir.
Thanks a lot, Raj.